last session. How's everyone doing? Hanging in there?
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm just curious.
You guys are really good because it's the only reason I stayed.
Well, you're in luck because I think this is going to be a lot of fun. My name's Ivan. This is Therese. We're from Lansing Community College. We're going to do a little presentation on lateral thinking with lateral thinking puzzles. So hopefully this will be a lot of fun. Is anyone is anyone familiar with what a lateral thinking puzzle is? Has anyone ever heard of those? I know a lot of these things. So what a lateral thinking puzzle is it's kind of like a riddle, but there are a couple key differences. They're to be done as groups, so multiple people are trying to solve the same puzzle at the same time, and they're administered by one person, which I like to call the quizmaster. The most important difference, though, is that the solution to a lateral thinking puzzle isn't something that you could guess immediately or logically figure out. It's not a pun or a play on words. It's usually the end result of a long series of very specific events, and it's your goal as the players in this puzzle to figure out what that series of events is. So we'll get to the relevance of all that later, but I really wanted to dive straight into one that we'll do as a group just to give you a good idea of what these puzzles look like. So I'm going to be the quizmaster, and everyone here is going to be the players in this. So the only rules are this. As the quizmaster, I am only allowed to answer a question with one of 3 words: yes, no, or irrelevant. So ask your questions in that fashion. Usually when we do these, you can just shout out questions however you feel like, but because we have kind of a large group, you can all ask if you raise your hand when you want to ask a question. So, all right, let's go for it.
Now, some of you, if you do happen to know the answer to that particular example,
just play along.
Play along, and let others get a feel for the vibe, and then we'll get into it later. All right. So,
Charlie died when the music stopped. I do have to apologize. A lot of lateral thinking puzzles, just by their nature, are very morbid. You'll have a lot of Amanda's found dead, etc., puzzles. So I hope that doesn't offend anyone.
So now with this situation, what you guys are trying to do, you're essentially asking Ivan questions, which the answers can either be yes, no, or irrelevant, to try to figure out what happened. Because we have a set scenario in our minds, and you are trying to figure out what that scenario is. And the only way you can do that is by asking us your questions.
So there may be multiple solutions to a given lateral thinking puzzle, but I have one particular one in my mind, and it's your goal to try to figure out which solution I have. Yes, go ahead.
Was Charlie the musical artist?
No.
It's Charlie Human.
Go ahead.
Did the type of music result in that?
No. Yes.
Was Charlie Human?
No.
Oh, wow. Oh.
Was he drinking?
Was Charlie drinking? No.
Yeah, well,
No, Charlie was not drinking.
Was the music the cause of Charlie's death?
Not directly.
Oh,
No.
Sorry. Wait, so Louis the Quizmaster. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Is Charlie part of the music?
No.
No.
Is Charlie alive?
Not anymore.
Was Charlie a living thing?
What's that?
A living thing.
Yes.
What happens with the music?
Don't give up yet, guys.
Is Charlie smaller than a loaf of bread?
Yes.
Is Charlie an insect?
Yes, he is.
Is Charlie a cricket?
Go ahead, Chances.
Was Charlie hit by someone?
Fine hit.
Did a person somehow squash Charlie?
Yes.
What was your question?
Was Charlie a cricket?
Irrelevant.
Does Charlie was responsible for the music?
No.
Was the music part of a game?
Yes.
Jeez.
Okay.
What was Charlie and?
Irrelevant. Yep.
Was Charlie on the field with the marching band?
No. Clever though.
Did a human kill Charlie?
Yes. That was not a simple.
We're not doing good.
You guys are terrible. That's not what I meant, sorry. We just have a very strict time schedule.
Right.
But
No, I
Was the music the person's footsteps?
no.
Does the fact that the music stops is related to Charlie's death?
Yes.
You can remember.
Oh,
Was Charlie making the music?
No.
It was an incident.
I feel like you know.
If you feel like you know the solution, then by all means.
Unless you absolutely already know that.
We'll let everyone else play for
Yeah,
2 or 3
yeah,
minutes
that's
and then we'll go for it. Yeah, go ahead.
Did the music come from the woman who killed Charlie?
No.
Charlie lost his voice.
Charlie's an insect, maybe.
Well, but it's sexy, so
Well, of course.
he ignoring.
Try to think of something. Try to think of what you know right now, and then associate the first thing that you think.
Okay.
And then just don't think about that. Think about something else.
Okay,
The game.
wait, can we associate, can we talk to each other for a second?
Sure.
Okay, right. Let's collaborate now. Alright, so he's an insect. He died when the music stopped. He was killed by a human,
He wasn't playing the music.
and he wasn't playing the music.
And the music
And
is
he's not
involved in
the
the
cause.
music.
Yes, the music is involved in the game.
Music is
Right
part of
orange
the game.
and field.
The music is part of the game.
It's
What
related to the
game?
fact that the music stopped.
Is the game that the music and part of a game with multiple people?
Yes. Very well
I know
worded.
the answer.
Oh yeah, but
He had an epiphany.
Yeah, I just, does it have to do with musical chairs?
Yes.
Yes.
Complete the puzzle.
When the music stops and one sat on drum?
Yeah.
Right. Correct. So the way you use the information that you're getting from the others is when someone asks a question, like for example, he asked, was Charlie human? And we said no. So you can automatically cross out that Charlie is not a human. And then
Yeah, that was amazingly
someone-
fast, by the way. Normally it takes people way longer to get
to
Charlie
get to
as a
that.
human, yeah.
And then someone else asked if Charlie was an insect, and Ivan said yes. Then someone else said, is Charlie a cricket? Irrelevant. So we don't care what kind of insect Charlie was. We just care that Charlie's an insect.
Yeah, because
So-
he didn't accept.
Yeah, that gives a size instead of a.
Right.
Exactly. So you go from knowing nothing to knowing that it's an insect. Then it doesn't matter what type of insect. Then you go to the music. It was that kind of music. Then it was a game. Then you try to associate all the information that you get to form the puzzle, and eventually that led you to the solution. So now what we're going to do.
Well, I got a few things to say. So, I really like lateral thinking puzzles because it's a great exercise in problem solving and thinking outside of the box and critical thinking. So there are some lessons to be learned here, right? When you're given almost no information, can you dive in, go down with a line of questioning, and try to learn something and get closer to the goal? And then more importantly, when it becomes clear that your line of questioning isn't the correct one and you've reached a dead end, can you pivot, turn, and go in a completely different direction while still holding on to the things you learned on the first path? That's the lateral part of lateral thinking puzzles, right? So this is sort of the same skill that I like to teach my students. I tutor math and physics, and so we talk a lot about problem solving. And I use this asking questions to yourself as a problem solving strategy, right? Like, what information have I been given? What assumptions can I make? What assumptions can't I make? You know, what type of answer are they looking for here? Are they looking for a number, a sentence, an equation, things like that? But more importantly, I always try to tell my students to be adventurous in their problem solving, right? How many people here have heard from their students that they never know how to start a problem? Right? Probably everyone, right?
Yeah.
So this is a great way to help start a problem. And I always tell them, you know, I can guarantee you that you're not going to solve the problem if you don't try something, right? Even if you're not 100% sure that your method is the correct one, just try it. You'll probably learn something along the way. And then when it becomes clear that the way you're trying to do this probably isn't the correct one, it's not the end of the world, right? Don't give up. Try something else. Just dive in. Be adventurous. You'll get there eventually.
Because it's your problem. It's okay to attack this problem and make mistakes because it's yours. This is my problem. So I'm gonna take what I know, I'm gonna take what I have, and I'll try to use that to get to the solution, to the answer that I'm trying to get. If that makes sense.
So we're going to do some more exercises in this, except for you guys are going to be the quiz masters and the players now. So I made up these kind of cool cards. I think they're cool. So the way this works is this. To be honest, we didn't have as big a turnout as I thought we were going to. So we'll split into, I don't know, what do you think, 2 groups or 3 groups?
Let's say 3 groups.
How many people do we have? 3, 7, 11, 13?
I'd say 3 groups of, 2 groups of 4 and 1 group of 5.
Okay, yeah, that sounds all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you...
I think you have 12 people.
Yeah, we're 12.
Oh, we have 12. So 3 groups of 4?
Alright, we'll do 3 groups of 4.
Alright, so the way this works is I'm going to give each group one of these puzzle cards. Each puzzle card has 2 puzzles. One of them is the primary one. The other one is just for if you get it done quicker, or maybe if somebody in the group happens to have already seen this one, they can go on to the second one, that sort of thing. So the way they work is like this. I'm going to give you the puzzle card like this. Everyone in the group should read the puzzle very carefully so that they understand fully what the puzzle is, right? Then you should designate who's going to be the quiz master. If there's somebody in your group who has already seen this puzzle or has a pretty good idea of what the answer is, probably they should be the quiz master for that round, right? Then what they do is position yourself so that you can open the card like this, and the solution to the puzzle is written right here on the back of this card. So position yourself so that the players can see the puzzle, but only the quiz master can see the solution. Then if you need to go on to the second puzzle, if you complete it too quickly, flip it upside down and there's puzzle number 2.
Okay. So one of you is going to be the lucky one who's not going to have to ask so many questions. And 3 of you are going to be asking questions. So...
I can send it over.
Yeah, I think we should write and, you know.
I do better. I can hard to
There's your
Yeah, wow, they're like, they did
I don't know what map. You're writing.
I mean, the one I've heard is, you know, a little more, I'll wait, because they might still.
Here's your puzzle. Somebody grab onto it. The solution.
So decide who's going to be a quiz master after you start the puzzle.
See,
Oh, Genesis already saw the one I wanted to use.
Everybody died.
You did?
Yeah, they have to be.
You were at my in-service too, right?
Yep.
Did you see this one?
Yes, I was quiz master for that one.
Everybody, okay, well, I guess that means.
Oh, you already heard that one too, though.
I think Genesis.
You have to be quiz master.
Okay, go ahead and pick one.
Okay, I'm picking this one because I love this one.
So we
Oh,
didn't need to move.
So now you guys have to make
Yeah, I have to move back because I didn't read your answer. Okay.
Just the math.
Just before you start, guys, while you're asking your questions, think about these questions. So just a few guidelines to help stream your thought patterns in your thinking. And remember, quiz masters, that you can only answer yes, no, or irrelevant. If something is kind of iffy, you can ask either I clarify. Fun, right? Fun.
Hey, I don't think I know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
You do know this one?
Oh, I don't think I know.
Basically, like, you strike on the box.
Sorry, sure.
Can you guys read it?
Okay.
Did the man that left the party, was it a fire involved?
I still don't know that one.
Oh, good, okay.
I don't know.
They at a party, they die at the party.
It's okay.
Yes.
I don't want to mess up their group.
You don't want to play? You can.
So they said 5 minutes.
Jump in.
Was there an umbrella involved?
I was just about to ask that.
Number line?
Umbrella.
Umbrella. Oh, I thought you said number line.
No.
No.
They use a number line. It's like
No umbrella?
No umbrella.
Was one wearing a
Say,
hat?
ask the question again.
No.
Accident.
Was the man that
Was
left
it
the party?
accidental?
No,
That's what it's saying here.
no.
I would say.
Were they traveling in the same road?
Yes.
Probably that wasn't very clear, yeah.
Right.
Were they traveling together?
They asked if it was.
Was there a tree around?
Did someone?
Technically, yes.
When you
Well,
say
yeah.
tree?
Were they riding
Yes.
bike or something? Were they riding any bike?
Yes.
No.
So I think it's suicide.
Was it rain? Was it natural rain?
Yes.
Did you say natural rain?
Like they,
Were they walking on a covered bridge?
No.
But it wasn't a man.
No.
5 men traveling along. Come on, and I follow this or quick in their steps and get wet.
I really need some coffee.
Did any of them had
You did eat or
rain?
drink.
Was one drive? Was
Yes.
oh no, they were walking
It's,
or traveling.
It's tough
Was
to know.
one
It could be
actually
right.
not
The
walking?
suicide
Yes.
was alone.
So he was,
Ah.
wait, what was that?
Was one actually not walking?
Okay.
Is he a vegetarian?
Was one?
That's a good line. That's actually no, but that was a good line.
Was one?
Was he immune to the poison?
By belonging to.
Does the time period of that this having happened matter?
So,
No.
what do we have?
No.
He had immune
I asked, were they working
No.
Did any of them had rain?
Yes, so we.
So when you say
Irrelevant.
everyone was.
One of them was not walking.
Yeah, no.
Was one?
Okay, we need to look at this.
Ongoing
No,
was.
I already know this.
There's no bridge.
It's so relevant, remember?
Now we
Wow. Okay.
There's a specific reason.
How close are they getting? Yes.
There's so far pretty much all the time. One of them was not walking.
That's important.
It is important. It's very important.
Yeah.
Was one
I feel like we're getting stuck.
So how could you travel without walking?
can be carried?
Was one riding on an animal?
Was one of them a baby?
No, no.
Sorry.
Taking away so they can expel.
Were they all the same age?
Irrelevant.
He wasn't immune to it.
Is time a factor?
But one was not walking. Was one being carried?
Yes.
One was being carried.
She's excited.
That's good. Getting there.
Alright. Was one, did one have a broken leg?
What would that have to do?
Irrelevant.
No. That's the trick.
Why he was being carried?
Oh, yeah.
Was one,
Yo, I have a question. Did the floor get wet from the rain?
So they all went to the same person, right?
was one wearing a hat?
Irrelevant.
Was there blood on the match?
Have an immunity to it.
How do the police, like inspectors or have?
No, it just says that he's found dead.
That would be a good
And he was mentioned about five years ago.
Oh, was one in an accomplice?
Yes. Yes, they got it. The fifth man is dead and laying in his casket. The other 4 men are the pallbearers.
Cool. You got enough time to do the other one, I think.
Yeah.
We'll do another 6 minutes.
Well, because the man.
Does he have cigarettes?
Before he died.
Or irrelevant, I should say.
Then push this door. So the match aided and he stopped when he reached the whole
He didn't expel it.
Citizen hard.
Like the words are like, wait, what?
I think sad, like, get there, you're bankrupt.
What's the other one?
Are you going to?
Oh,
We
yeah.
have no
Silly.
idea.
What do you know?
We know that.
That's the car, did the car stop working?
That's what caused
He's
it.
in the middle
No.
of the field, his body's not. Does the
He doesn't
gas
have
price,
immunity,
does the relation affect?
Irrelevant.
Was there something that activated it after the house?
Okay.
Well,
Is this a song?
Why would they
I
push
would
this
say
car?
irrelevant, yeah.
This is car broken.
Was there something?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Was there gas in his car?
Guy he was alone.
Well, which is one.
Irrelevant.
Yeah, there we go.
Was he
See no
alone
more.
right before his death?
Right, so there was no
Outside
Did somebody
trigger.
else help him die?
Is
the
the
house. Is he living at the hotel?
I was gonna say, that's exactly what I was gonna ask. What, is he living at the
Or
hotel?
staying at the hotel?
They died, okay,
These questions are kind of hard to answer.
They died
What
at
could
the
he
party,
be doing?
in their house,
He
or whatever
said
the
he
party.
pushed his car, but it wasn't broken.
Okay.
So why would you push your car if it wasn't broken?
Did he own the house? Own a
They
house?
stayed at party to the rest of their lives.
Irrelevant.
Did he, oh.
Was it
Was he
his
living in a
hotel?
house?
Going in circles.
Irrelevant.
Was he paying a
Well,
rent?
yeah, I really do.
No, you can't, yes, no. Well, did they stay at the party for?
So you
Irrelevant.
said he wasn't staying at, was he staying at the hotel?
Going good here. Do you know this?
He does not know that
You
one.
don't know that one?
This one's hard.
So the person connected.
I know I.
He's pushing a car.
He's pushing a car that isn't broken.
Yeah, I
Is
found
it, is
that.
it a real car or a toy car?
Exactly, thank you, that's what I was gonna.
I mean, is it a toy car?
Yes.
The person that's.
That's not it.
She's 2 for 2.
Got it? I'm just gonna give you another one. 5 minutes.
Person got it? Person got it?
There you go, quit doing that.
The man was playing Monopoly.
He was bankrupt.
This one's really good. You should. Someone else should do Quizmaster.
Okay, I'll try not to answer any of the questions.
Who wants to do Quizmaster now?
Did this on purpose.
One, two.
I can.
Ben, yeah, Ben can. He's way at the end.
Just a few minutes left, so if everyone is getting stuck, the Quizmaster has the authority to maybe give some gentle hints.
Something they ate or drank. Don't think about
They put one of the important things that you have
Man,
to
it's so
stress.
good.
Are they all drinking?
Where was he before he died?
Whoa, I don't remember
I actually
that.
don't know this one.
Oh, good.
I found this one recently.
No.
That's why. Okay, wait. Is the person getting in while the person is committing suicide?
No.
Is the person already dead?
Rephrase it.
Yeah,
It's all about
I forget what I asked now, 'cause.
Now, is he committing suicide at
Yeah.
the moment the guy in the rush comes in? Or is
Was
he
he
already
already
dead?
There's a relation
Is it
between
the person
them,
committing suicide?
whatever it is that they.
I can answer only yes or no.
Yeah, or irrelevant.
Did he
So
die
is it
and
relevant?
Something that
Irrelevant.
is affect.
Is there more than one
Did
person?
he die and
Okay.
then
That was,
fall into the
Wait,
field?
there's more than one person committing suicide?
No, there's one more. It was found.
The
guy that lived in just.
Is it a study?
Irrelevant.
is it the show
Yes.
where you fall into the field?
No.
Oh, this one's kind of hard.
America's
Like,
Next
as
Top
an overall
Suicide.
concept, but I was confused when I had to read it and figure out how to compare it.
Mixed.
I mean, this is that.
It is. But you guys are all stars. You got both of
Did he
them.
have?
On the news. The person who committed
That's what you just
suicide
said.
on the news.
He died before he fell
No.
in.
Is the person
He
who
died
turned the
before he went
TV
to the
on
field.
It's a
news?
poison.
Say that again?
Is the person who turned on the TV on the news?
Yes.
No. What's
Does the storm relate to the suicide?
Or irrelevant.
Did the
Did he
person that
die?
did this also die?
And then was he put?
60
The
seconds.
person who turned on the TV, the person who died would fall into the field. I know.
I'm guessing no, though.
No.
What?
How did he get to the field?
Yeah, I guess
fell
that'd
from
be-
the sky.
It's turning on the light.
Yes.
Was he in a
Yeah.
The
No.
person who turns on the light, the person who turns.
Was he in a tree?
No.
No.
Was
Was the fall
he paranoid?
Was the
the
fall
person
resulting
the human?
in his death?
Yes.
This says person.
Yeah.
No, it's poison, but irrelevant.
Is the person who turned on the
What
light
poison
trying to
is?
stop the person from committing suicide?
Oh, no?
30 seconds.
Fall
I mean, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Are they the same as irrelevant?
Do they know each other?
Well, it depends on where the match ends up. Irrelevant. Did the match end there? That's why I asked if there was blood on the match.
No, the fall killed him, so.
Are we anywhere close to
But
the
the match is
answer?
related to his death.
But what can you do in the sky?
I don't understand the answer.
To fall.
And die.
Were they sealed?
Exactly. That's what we're trying to figure out.
Maybe even a beaker, like a bean.
What time frame was it?
Which is not water.
Is this morning? Irrelevant.
Just a hint. Irrelevant.
Is this?
All right, guys. The quiz masters, if they haven't solved the puzzle by now, gracefully reveal the answer.
Let us read
The
everything.
man was in a hot air balloon with
Oh
friends.
my
He
God.
started to crash.
That's a really hard one.
Yeah, we have to figure this.
That's why I said that, right? And I was like, wow, this is gonna be a harder one.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
I just think of it.
That was hard.
I found it adjusted and
Oh, yeah, it was
All right, guys.
Drink.
So how was that? Fun?
How'd you feel about it?
No, she says no.
No.
Okay.
So now what we're gonna do, does everyone have something to write with? Okay. So now in your groups, what you're gonna do, you are going to come up with a scenario. Similar to this. You're gonna come up with a scenario in your groups, you have about 5 minutes to do this, and then you're going to test it on the other groups.
So you're going to create your own lateral
Make your own lateral thinking puzzle. Think of something, you have a scenario in your head, and then you're going to give someone else a portion of that scenario.
So remember, a good lateral thinking puzzle is not a riddle, it's not a pun, it's a long, complicated series of events that the players have to figure out, right? So think of something that would be way too contrived to ever be guessed. But try to make it as clever and satisfying as you can at the same time.
Okay?
So
Does that make sense?
Take about 5, maybe 8 or 7 minutes to create your own lateral thinking puzzle.
Somebody always dies.
Yeah, it's easier
the one
to
I'm
do.
He said, elevator, like, he needs to go to work. His work is on the second floor. When he rains, he can, like when he rains, he can get, like he can get into the elevator and go, but when it doesn't rain, he can't.
yeah, the group comes up right.
But when he doesn't, he can't, like he needs to take the stairs. You remember that word?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm saying it right. Oh no, I'm just saying.
And then figure out which dependencies you want to
Like he's super short. So when it rains, he uses his umbrella to press the button.
You got one?
No, I was telling them about scenarios.
We got like 2 or 3 minutes. Gotta think about it. Okay.
It doesn't have to be, it's just I don't know any other way to do it. This is the right.
I'm trying to jump.
Don't think of one you've already heard. The goal is to come up with one that you've never heard before.
Well, there's one
Susie and I think Susie and
No, I mean, you're going to test it with other
No,
groups.
this is
So.
one that already exists.
Oh, well, don't use one that already exists.
No, we're chilling the one I know about.
Okay. Well, you know,
Well, but my point was I can do with that.
Man, can you think of one? Oh.
No. And then
If someone can get me started.
Does it
Man
have
has
to be
foundation.
realistic? Like, can we talk about
there's something, no, I'm messing.
it doesn't have to be realistic.
We should have a
Whatever, man.
great, they bring good dramatic effect.
I'll be back.
That's up to you.
That at least gives you different avenues of approach.
And it could be something, holding on that, it doesn't have to stay.
So if you have a set scenario and you have
Right.
Yeah, you can't do that easy.
Right. I'm just saying it gives at least a couple different ways that people would think about it, so they have to ask multiple questions.
What time is it?
And then, yeah, that's what they put on the, and then we want the answer to be, how do you guys want to do that?
Everybody's dying today.
I just think that'd be the easiest